Does your relationship with a teen seem hopeless? Teens of today face so many heavy issues, from bullying to pregnancy. They want someone to turn to, but they aren't sure where to start. We've got some answers. This is Tools for Teen Transformation with Lily Williams. We can provide tools to help teens and their parents see things a bit differently and open up the lines of discussion. Now, here's Coach Lily.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to Tools for Teen Transformation Radio. I am your host, Coach Lily Williams. I am a John Maxwell certified life coach, consultant, speaker, and trainer, and I am owner and CEO of Perfecting Destiny Coaching Services. We help teens to become productive citizens and to live their best lives by helping them to fall in love with themselves and to get rid of limiting behavior, thoughts, and ideas that does not add value to them. We believe we can change teen behavior by changing what and how teens think. Today's topic is going to be school. What's in it for me? Our show today is designed to inspire teens to stay in school. Our guest, Dr. Wesley Johnson, school superintendent with over 20 years of experience dealing with teens, he is going to be sharing, he and I, some ideas and some alternatives to help our teens to become successful and to graduate from high school or to find other educational choices. Dr. Johnson, I am going to let you introduce yourself to our radio guest this morning. I'm passing the mic to you.
Thank you, Coach Lily. I am just so honored and pleased to be a part of this radio show where we can discuss with teenagers the reason why school is so important. As you noted, I am the superintendent here in North Carolina in Clinton. There are two systems here. I am the superintendent of Clinton City Schools. We have 5 schools here. I have been here a short time. I only started the position in October 1st, but prior to that, I did work in the county schools, Sampson County, for over 20 years. Have been a teacher, also have been an administrator, assistant principal, and principal where I was principal of high school for 7 years. Started my career as a high school teacher and just have enjoyed continuing to work and move up the ladder to where we can affect and assist more students with reaching their destinies and outcomes.
I'm so glad to have Dr. Johnson with us this morning and our radio guest. You are listening to a person this morning that has had not only wealth of knowledge with all our research-based strategies, but he's got his own personal strategies, his personal experiences and personal relationships with teens that he'll be sharing with you along our radio show this morning. Now, we thought this was such an appropriate topic to deal with today because this is 2019, and we know that we want to have a strong finish with our 2018-2019 school year, don't we, Dr. Johnson?
Oh, absolutely! It's so important that we hope that we help our young people to see the importance of school and see the importance of their future, and that one way that they improve and brighten their future is to take school and education serious, so that we can inspire them to continue to move their future beyond even their own thoughts, dreams, hopes, and imagination.
I know, Dr. Johnson, when you and I were speaking the last time you and I had a conversation, and I said to you, when the teens ask us, they say, what's in it for me? Your response to me was their entire future. That's what's in it for them. And we're going to talk about that some this morning. I'm just going to let you lead, and I'm going to jump in every now and then. And you are going to be the one this morning to spearhead some wonderful ideas and some strategies and help us to change our mindsets. That's what teen transformation is all about. We're going to be helping them to make better decisions about staying in school, and you're going to be giving them some choices And I'm just going to let you start however you want to, Dr. Johnson.
Okay, well, thank you, Coach Lilly. You know, one of the things, of course, that we discussed in our previous conversation, as you noted, was that, it's so important for teens to understand that education is essential to their future goals. We want teens to be successful. That's one of the platforms and one of the mottos of this great organization that you've established. And so we want teens to see that education is a way for them to improve not only the outcomes for their own selves and their own lives, but for the outcomes of their future children and the outcomes of everyone that they're going to be able to have in their cohort, in the future. So I'm just so excited to be able to talk with you today about these things. And, as we talked about, as you noted, one of the things that I have experience with is that I have firsthand account experience of working with teenagers as they made valuable life decisions, because there are tough decisions that teenagers have to face with trying to determine if they need to get a job to help out at home, or maybe they've had a family at a young age and they need to assist with bringing in some income. But what we talked about previously was that the decisions they make at this age are going to impact their future. And so that is so important that they understand that education is a way to impact the bottom line. And when I say the bottom line, I'm talking about their finances, not necessarily in the immediate, but in their future, that their high school diploma and any type of CTE certifications or any type of technical trade or any type of college degree that they can continue to earn is going to improve that bottom line, for many, many, many years to come.
We did talk about that, and that's what our teens are needing to know today, that the decisions that they make today is going to have the greatest impact on their future. And we did talk just a minute about, the income of people earning degrees and certifications would be certainly higher than people that not have these kinds of certifications. You and I talked about that some. We talked about so many things, Dr. Johnson, and you were so enlightening me on some of the things that, sometimes you just don't think about. And you mentioned a few of the causes why they say they might have to go to work. Sometimes it's just not working for them. The traditional school setting. And you and I know that if we have teens that are just not able to manage that traditional school setting, the K-8, you said K-13 when you added in the early college and those kinds of things. But some kids are not going to do the traditional education. Can you talk with our audience about that just a little bit too, Dr. Johnson, and let them know that that's not the end. That's not all doom and gloom. There are other ways, and you are right in the midst of making sure that if they can't do this, they can do that. You want to give us one or two of those options, please?
Sure, I would love to, Coach Lilly. I think it's important that our listening audience understand that there are alternatives to, education, that everybody doesn't necessarily fit in the same mold, that we're all born with different strengths and different talents and, different things for us to work and to learn how to work so that we can get to our maximum potential, which is what I like to say a lot when I'm talking to young people. We're trying to reach our maximum potential. So, as you noted, it's so important when we think about education, that we think about this pre-K, early intervention to grade 13 and beyond. And when we think about those types of things, it's almost hard to grasp if you're a non-educator or if you just remember back to your schooling experience, because we only kind of remember either the really good things or the really bad things, and we don't remember necessarily all the stuff in the middle. Well, it's so important that we realize in education that it's so important that the early interventions that we get to our young people are essential, and that when when we think about dropouts, and I know that you and I talked about this last time, dropouts, they drop out of high school, but this is not a high school phenomenon. Dropouts really start way prior to high school with teens, with young people that don't feel like school is the place for them, and they feel like that they have to go to school and they're bored, and maybe they are really good with their hands. And so we almost have to try to look at this situation where, and I think education has done a suitable job, and I hate to use that adjective, but we've done a suitable job with making some changes to how we do school, but there's still a lot of things that we have to do. I'm thinking about a lot of small group instruction, which I've seen in a lot of the elementary schools as I've continued my career. You see a lot of this small group instruction. You see a lot of more hands-on and a lot of manipulatives that we're using in the elementary schools, but it seems like as the kids advance on into the middle schools and high schools, that we kind of go back to those mundane approaches where, and most of the time, where you see kids in rows again, and we're starting to do a lot of lecture again. And again, that turns off a lot of young people to education. So we've got to continue to find ways to improve the experience for young people, and that they enjoy school, they enjoy the activities that are being done. They continue to do small group instruction at the middle school and high school. And then we also, as you noted, and you kind of started the series of this talk, is that there are different ways and different things that students can get accustomed to. We think about this, the career technical education programs that are in our middle schools and high schools, which start to develop students for certain career or technical industries where they get to maybe learn a skill like welding or brick masonry or some of these other things, the ag mechanics, and they get to work with their hands. And I've found a lot of kids to be extremely successful when they start to do these things at the high school level.
I have to. I've really been impressed, Dr. Johnson, when I can look at, we're talking about salaries, and that's one of the things. Everybody stays in school. You get all the degrees and all the certifications that you can. It's to increase your salaries and to improve your standard of living and your quality of life. And what happens with our students that are not engaged in the traditional education, like you said, if they can get those certifications and the money that they can make with their hands-on skills is phenomenal. And Dr. Johnson, you and I kind of chuckled when we were talking about, even the air conditioning and refrigeration mechanics when they come to our homes, even before they get out of their cars and trucks, they've already charged us to even drive into the yard. And so you and I kind of chuckle about that, but that's reality, and we need to let our students know. We're going to come back on the other side of our break, and we're going to talk about not only the money that they can make, but we're going to talk some, Dr. Johnson, you and I, about what's in school for them. We're going to talk about the relationship piece, what our teachers and all the principals and our people in the community can do. And we're going to talk with our students and our radio listening audience about how important education is, because you coined the frame, you said equalizer. And we're going to talk a lot about that when we come back. We want everybody to stay with us. Education, Dr. Johnson said, like everybody else, is the great equalizer. Stay with us. Tools for Teen Transformation Radio. I'm your host, Lily Williams, and my special guest is Dr. Wesley Johnson. And people, every time I mention his name, the first thing everybody wants to tell me is that Dr. Johnson really cares about his children in his school and his staff, and he's a wonderful person. So come back with us.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
All over the country, we're seeking ways to stop just one more teen school shooting, to stop just one more teen suicide, just one more teen pregnancy, and just one more teen drug and alcohol addiction. Policies, rules, and regulations will not change teen behavior. The one known research-based strategy to change teen behavior is to change what and how teens think. As a result of using the concepts, ideas, and strategies outlined in Tools for Teen Transformation, teens have fallen in love with themselves, raised their self-esteem, made better choices, and changed their behaviors. They are living productive lives. Look for the book Tools for Teen Transformation coming soon and to be announced first at Coach Lily's website, perfectingdestiny.com. You may also visit her website if you would like to support the cause of empowering youth, teens, and young adults to love themselves and add value to their lives and everyone around them. That's perfectingdestiny.com. And be sure to look for Coach Lily's upcoming book.
Are you a game changer in disguise? Are you tired of waking up every day saying, they soar like eagles and I'm stuck in the nest? Well, wonder no more. It's time to soar. Of the world's millionaires, billionaires, and game changers, almost all started with at least one unique idea. Join Crystal for a controversial look at triumphs, tragedies, tools, and secrets for living a fun, financially free life with her successful guests. Listen to Soaring with Eagles, Tuesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on Voice America Empowerment. And get ready to soar.
Do you sometimes feel powerless over your own life? Does it seem like you're living for someone else, unsure of what your purpose is, or if you even have an important voice? It's time to take back that control. Tune in to Empowered with Des and Jen. They've been in the same place and have learned to regain control of their lives. They also feature amazing guests who share experiences of how they have found success. Start on your journey by listening Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on Voice America Empowerment.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You are tuned in to Tools for Teen Transformation with Lily Williams. Reach out to Coach Lily via email at perfectingdestinylifecoach@gmail.com. That's perfectingdestinylifecoach@gmail.com. Now, back to Tools for Teen Transformation.
Hello, our audience. Good morning and welcome back to Tools for Teen Transformation Radio. We're so glad that you have come back with us. I am your host, Lily Williams, and my special guest today is Dr. Wesley Johnson, school superintendent. And he and I are steadily talking about inspiring teens to stay in school. What's in it for them? And Dr. Johnson and I, we're looking at today, we're trying to answer the question, when teens say school, what's in it for me? Dr. Johnson and I have said that everything, school is everything. We say, what's in it for me? What did we say, Dr. Johnson?
Your entire future.
Your entire future. So today we're going to try and give you another reason why you should stay in school or get an education or certification in however area you decide. But Dr. Johnson and I, we're also wanting to give you a strategy for our teens and our young adults that might be considering dropping out. Dropping out meaning just not following through the course of getting the education the traditional way or the other certifications. Dr. Johnson, you and I talked a lot about that relationship and our best educators, and let's share with our audience some of our conversation that we had, please.
Sure. And, Coach Lilly, again, we have some very passionate and dedicated people when we talk about educators. These people have gone to school sometimes as much as 6, 8, 10 years to earn extra degrees and master's degrees and advanced degrees and doctorates, and they have dedicated themselves to a profession where we all know that they are not earning top dollar for compared to the degrees of other people that have been to school for 6, 8, 10 years. But these people are passionate about young people. They're passionate about making a difference for our nation. They're passionate about making a difference for our world, and they do that by inspiring teens, which is what we're talking about on this radio show today. And so what you and I talked about previously was the importance of forging and forming the appropriate professional relationships between students and the adults in their arena. And when we say adults, and when we say educators, we're talking about everyone. We're talking about from the principal to the assistant principal to the guidance counselor to the media coordinator to the teachers to the bus drivers to the custodians to the lunchroom workers, that they are all there for the purpose of helping our young people to excel and to get to their best possible versions of themselves. So, we discussed earlier how good teachers work really hard, not just to be content experts or not just to provide the means to an end, but they also work to forge those appropriate relationships with students and to get to know them and to be a sounding board, where to develop trusting relationships with our students, because we know that it's difficult to be a teenager, and we know that it's difficult to maybe not to have a lot of things that are going on in our teenagers, and maybe they don't have maybe a necessarily the best of role models, but our teachers can be those good role models, and they can be those good listening ears for those young people to help them to reach their destinies and to be the best version of themselves that they can be.
You're right, Dr. Johnson. You're absolutely right. The teachers and the people in the classrooms are going to spend way more awake time and with students, sometimes more than even the adults and the parents and the guardians that they live with. Now, and you mentioned that the parents are needing to have a listening ear because sometimes when you and I are talking today, we're talking about ways that they can be successful. And if they say, school, what's in it for me, and they're not able to do that, what we want to do, Dr. Johnson, is offer them, some other alternatives. And if we've got our ears listening to their conversations and what it is going on with them, sometimes we might want to recommend, and I know that you've done more of it than a lot of times when you discuss the whole situation. You probably recommended transferring to different high schools. You've probably recommended going to alternative schools. I don't know, because we're so passionate about education, but, sometimes we're passionate about our public education, but sometimes kids have had to be homeschooled. There are all kinds of ways, and, even online, all kinds of ways for teens to become successful. So you and I, Dr. Johnson, there might be something that you want to tell them that our audience had not thought about. Your personal relationship. You've had some personal contacts and some personal experiences with teens that you had to direct. Can you help us with maybe one of those?
Sure, I would love to, Coach Lilly. I think what we're trying to say here in this segment is that it's so important to be aware of all of our community resources, and that there are other options and other avenues for kids to earn or to become the best version of themselves. That maybe the traditional school setting is not the right place, but there are online options, as we talked about. They are career. I was thinking a while ago, a few few moments ago is we see more and more students that are involved in what's called CCP courses, where they leave their high schools and go to their community colleges. We talked about the early college aspect. And so, when we're advising teenagers, and I can't think of an individual story right now, but when we're advising teenagers, we have to consider what's best for that teenager. Because some teenagers have things that keep them in school, like let's say maybe a certain sport keeps them in school. They are really tuned in to playing football or basketball or maybe even girls soccer. And we have to use those avenues to inspire that kid that that there's only a few very lucky and very God-given abilities that they're going to make it to the next level when we say college and maybe the NBA or the NFL. But you can use your sport to thinking about my wife, for instance. My wife played collegiate basketball, so she had a full scholarship to play college basketball. So she used her God-given abilities in basketball to get a degree that she will use for her entire life. So she's now a teacher, so she used her ability in basketball to get her to college, to get her a full scholarship, to get her a degree, and to continue to inspire the future generations by being a teacher. So when we have things that we're good at, we can use those, and maybe I'm really good in the band, and I can use my God-given abilities to be a great saxophone player, to go and to get other degrees. So using and mentoring students and finding out their specific strengths and talents, and then making adjustments in their middle school and high school careers to get them to the best version possible of themselves.
I appreciate that. And every parent, every guardian, all of us really appreciate what everybody does to make our kids be successful, our teens. And Dr. Johnson, I just looked at some more of your bio, and I see that you are a coach. And I'm telling you now, the coaches have way more influence than anybody think that they've got. And when I said your personal experiences, you've got hundreds of them, because you've touched hundreds of lives, even in that area of your profession. I see you were athletic director, coach, and a teacher, and then your assistant principal. Then you went to technology. So you've got so many areas that you have touched the lives of teens, and whether you know it or not, you've been inspirational in helping them to say, well, I guess I can stay. I can do this, or I will do that. Or it would even please Dr. Johnson that I do this for myself. So that's another piece of the relationship that we want to talk about this morning to our radio audience. We want you to know that relationship is paramount in dealing with our teens. If we can build a relationship with them and that they know that we care about them and their journey, Dr. Johnson, don't you think that that's going to make the most difference in their career, in their educational career?
Oh, 100%, Coach Lily. Those relationships which we have discussed is so vital, and having that listening ear. I recently heard a story that said there was a man that was giving away cups of coffee if anybody was willing to listen to his story, and nobody came. But the very next day, he said, I'll give away cups of coffee if I can be told a story. And he had hundreds of people lined up that were willing to tell a story. So most often, we think as educators that they want to hear us talk. They don't want to hear us talk, but what they really want from us is that listening ear where we can hear them talk, and they can share their stories with us, and they can share their dreams. They can share, what they want to pursue and the passions that they have in their own life, and that's what we need to do. We need to listen to our teenagers to help them mold and shape their passions, because that's really what they're needing, is a compassionate person that's going to listen to them and help them to work so hard to get to their future dreams. Not somebody that's going to just lecture them and just tell them, when I was a teenager, and they don't want to hear those stories. They want to hear that compassionate, listening person that's just there to inspire them. And Coach Williams, Coach Lily, I'm just so lucky, because I have been a part of the same community, and my whole background of education has been within basically a 45-mile radius. So as I have been able to climb the ladder into these different positions and been very blessed, what has happened is I have seen former students of mine who have gone on to great careers. In fact, just recently, 2 of the previous 3 teachers of the year in the county that I was in, I was their middle school teacher. So just to have the opportunity to see these things and the wonderful things they're doing is just fantastic, and it inspires me every day.
Dr. Johnson, we appreciate you so much, and we're going to have to get our heads together again to do something else to let our teens know that how proud we are of them. And what we want to do today is to tell them, whenever they're thinking that those kinds of thoughts, we want to refer you to your teachers. We want to refer you to adults, anybody that can help you. And we want you to go on the internet and look for different opportunities, and go on the internet and look for other teen stories. You have been listening to Tools for Teen Transformation Radio. Dr. Johnson, we thank you so much for having been a part of us. And I want you to come back next week. Next week, we will be talking about teen spirituality. We're still dealing with our teenagers. I am your host, Lily Williams, and Dr. Wesley Johnson has been our guest for today. We thank you so very much. And remember, there is always a more excellent way.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
All over the country, we're seeking ways to stop just one more teen school shooting, to stop just one more teen suicide, just one more teen pregnancy, and just one more teen drug and alcohol addiction. Policies, rules, and regulations will not change teen behavior. The one known research-based strategy to change teen behavior is to change what and how teens think. As a result of using the concepts, ideas, and strategies outlined in Tools for Teen Transformation, teens have fallen in love with themselves, raised their self-esteem, made better choices, and changed their behaviors. They are living productive lives. Look for the book Tools for Teen Transformation coming soon, and to be announced first at Coach Lily's website, perfectingdestiny.com. You may also visit her website if you'd like to support the cause of empowering youth, teens, and young adults to love themselves and add value to their lives and everyone around them. That's perfectingdestiny.com. And be sure to look for Coach Lily's upcoming book.
If you've always wanted to take the lead in your life, but you don't believe you are a leader, then it's time to change that mindset. Leadership expert Linda Patton will help you discover the powerful leader that lives within and teach you the leadership skills that will transform your business and your life. Stepping into your leadership brings reality to your vision, and leadership can be learned. Find out more on Leadership Stars every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel.
Have you friended us on Facebook yet? Why not? Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for the keywords Voice America. Once you are part of our Facebook network, you'll receive daily messages about what's happening with our shows, this week's featured guests, and new happenings at the Voice America Talk Radio Network. And you can add your voice to the always active discussions on our timeline. Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for Voice America. Think you've seen everything there is to see in online television? Let us surprise you. Visit voiceamerica.tv today for sports, health, business, and more on demand 24/7.
You are tuned in to Tools for Teen Transformation with Lily Williams. Reach out to Coach Lily via email at perfectingdestinylifecoach@gmail.com. That's perfectingdestinylifecoach@gmail.com. Now, back to Tools for Teen Transformation.
Thank you so much for coming back with us, our radio audience. You are in for a treat. Tools for Teen Transformation Radio. I am your host, Lily Williams, and our special guest is Dr. Wesley Johnson. And we've got more information for you. You know, teens always ask us when they say, well, what's in it for me? And then we say, your entire future. One of the next questions they might have is, well, what do I do if I can't, stay in school because, I've been held back more times than I want to, or I've gotten in a situation, where I've had drugs, or I've been charged with, and I've been gotten pregnant. So many reasons why they talk about, needing to fall out to make money for this family. So many reasons. But when a teen says, well, what can I do? Where do I get information? What do I need to do now? Where do I need to go? Dr. Johnson has some answers for you, teens. So keep your ears open, take good notes, and Dr. Johnson is going to share with you what to do. Dr. Johnson?
Sure, Coach Lily. I think that's a very important question that we could be asked by our teens is, where can I receive additional information? And again, we have so many different resources in our community that's available for students. And the biggest thing that I think that the student needs to do is to have a common sense approach to education. When I say common sense, the thing that I'm really talking about here is that it's never too late to continue their education. If they've had a difficult situation, if they have had something that's come against them, be it on their own cause or being that it was just something that happened to them, that it's never too late to continue to investigate options to get an education. And as we talked about earlier, using those community resources, using your local schools, being an advocate and going to our community colleges, and there's all different types of programs. I mean, I'm thinking about GED types of programs. I'm thinking about online options. I'm thinking about, options to become a truck driver or different things, that we can help you to become the best version of yourself if you might have made some difficult decisions. That, there are people out there in our community that are looking to inspire, that we've got Big Brother and Big Sister type programs. We've got, the United Way. We've got all different types of individuals, that can help our teens. And, as a community person, and we talked about this in a previous conversation, Coach Lily, it's so important that our community sees our teens as our future, and that we can't necessarily believe all the news reports that we hear, but we've got some really good teenagers that are doing some really great things, and these young people are inspiring. I get to see them every day. I get to work with them. And I was in a classroom yesterday, in a AP Calculus classroom, and it was so far above my head, but we've got individuals in there that are working hard to learn these types of things so they can be the next engineers. And I just applaud what our teenagers are doing and say, just keep up the good work.
I do too. I'm amazed whenever I'm in their presence. I'm almost just awestruck with all. It is amazing. Like I said, Dr. Johnson, the level of thought processes where they are, the level of thinking that these teens are doing now is just astronomical. I am so pleased. I'm pleased with the progress that they're making in our county and our teens. be surprised. And I really want our communities to see that in our teams. You know, sometimes you're going to see what you look for. And if you look for the good in our teams, you'll see that. Dr. Johnson, one other thing before our time runs out, you and I want to mention too, to turn our discussion just a little bit. Our teens don't decide to drop out of school when they're teenagers. It started way back when, and sometimes we don't know exactly when. You just mentioned, calculus and AP and all those kinds of things, and, the mechanics, everything that kids do, the CTE in a school setting or an educational setting or career setting. All those things are so absolutely wonderful. But before they can get there, there are some other things. You and I said, well, maybe it starts that we have to start looking at maybe dropout in maybe middle school. Dr. Johnson, you said, no. We have to look at it even before then. So tell our audience what your thoughts were on, the dropout rate and where we need to start.
Sure, I would love to, Coach Lily. We need to start. We need to start at birth. I mean, it's so important that we realize that getting the foundations of education early is so important. So when you have if you're blessed to have a child, or to adopt a child, or to be in a child's life, even if you're an aunt or an uncle or just a concerned community member, find time to read to kids. Find time to listen to them. Allow them to share and be imaginative with their stories. Allow them to experience other students and to play and to just watch. It's so inspiring to watch two small kids play because of their just imagination and just the things that go on. Create that, allow those things, because we want young people, don't stifle imagination. We want them to be imaginative because we want them to have the same dreams and same aspirations that they are when they're toddlers. We want that to continue on into the elementary schools and to our to their intermediate schools and our middle schools and our high schools. We still want them to be imaginative because think of where we would be in society if we didn't have someone who thought about, well, let's create a computer, and now we've got these computers that are smartphones that are in our pockets that we use every day. So continue to inspire and to create and allow our young people to be imaginative and visionary.
And Dr. Johnson, we want to remind our students and our parents today that, look, all this creativity and everything that you've just said, I appreciate it so much. It doesn't start with high school, just all the way through life, making sure that we let them continue to be creative and develop into the men and women that they're going to be. I was wanting to say one more thing, and I think it's almost slipping my mind, Dr. Johnson, but what I do want to make sure that we mention is that continue to look at our kids as a bright future. That's it, your entire future. When we said today, what's in it for me, Dr. Johnson and I want to make sure that all our teens know that your education, whether it be certifications or career tech, whatever it is, your entire future. This has been Tools for Teen Transformation Radio. We are so glad to have had you as our audience today. Thank you so much, Dr. Johnson, Dr. Wesley Johnson, Superintendent, Clinton City Schools, for having been our guest for today. And always remember, teens, adults, and our radio listening audience, there is a more excellent way. This is Coach Lily. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining Coach Lily and Tools for Teen Transformation. You'll want to be here for another show next Tuesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. Eastern on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Until then, use some of what you've learned today to start a dialogue and be there for someone. It just might save a teen's life.